Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. It's a weekly call. It happens every week at 9 o'clock till 9:30. And pick a topic. Sometimes I ask people to give me a topic if they have something specific they want to hear about. And I'll talk about that. I had a few people give me some topics. So it was really a great way for me to just explore some other things that people may struggle with. My name is Marty Forrest. My website is Hello Extraordinary Life. Check that page. Check out the website. On the landing page, there is a free ebook. You can sign up and get on the email list. Get all of these emails in your inbox rather than being dependent on Facebook or some other form of technology. I am for hire as a coach. If you know you're ready to dive deep into yourself and take that road inside to loving ourselves, that's what I get to do with you. And we learn ways to navigate what goes on inside of us and how to love ourselves more than we do now. If we don't, maybe we're on the path and we want more skills. We want to go deeper in and stop the saboteur and that unconscious programming that will show up. Inevitably, it will show up. I also offer a 6-week course. I'm nearing the end of the last one for this year, and I have no date yet for the next one, but I have several people interested, so I may be picking a date sooner than I thought. I have several people that are like, I really want to know more about the course, so I may be looking at the calendar and actually picking a date sooner rather than later. That's all on the website. There's the individual coaching, the 6-week course. If you want to know more, there's more on the website. Today I am talking about what it takes, the skills it takes to be in relationship with ourselves, with others, and what it takes to build our skills. This was the topic. That was the actual headline. And, you know, I use the theme of time, consistency, commitment, and effort to stay focused, because that's what it really takes. It takes us being committed to our own path and our own journey and paying attention, becoming mindful. That's the beginning of it. The beginning is just being aware, becoming aware that how I'm behaving or how I feel about myself is not really effective and it's not really working. I don't feel good inside myself is usually the indicator. And when I don't feel good, I'm not happy, joyous on the inside, I don't feel loving on the inside, then somehow that ekes out. I'm showing up in my behaviors with others, treating them in ways that are not authentic. I may not always feel to them the way it feels to me. When I'm not authentic, I know it. When I say yes when I mean no, I know it. When I dishonor myself. So specifically I was talking about this morning when I sent the email, I have a person in my world that is just really, really struggling. And I've been in that place. So what do I want to do? I want to give them all the tools and all the things I've done, and here's what you need to do, and this will help you. And they don't want it. They don't want that from me. I am not the messenger right now. And it's where I'm at today, and it's one of the hardest things I'm learning to do is to get out of their way. Let them have their journey, because whatever they are doing on their journey is what they need to do. And what I'm doing on my journey is learning to get out of their way. And it's a learned skill. I lost Lori. I coach. So I'm here to help, and I want to coach, and I want to step into that role, and I want to help them, and I do a lot of listening, asking, what do you need? How can I help you? And these are not things that I ever did, and I still sometimes don't do them. And this is only one person I'm talking about, but this is across the board. When we have people in our lives that are struggling and we know we have an answer that could help them, and they don't want help, the best thing we can do is get out of their way and not offer them something that they don't want from us. Because I'm quick to do that. And then it turns ugly, and then I don't like myself because all I wanted to do was help. And then I'm mad at them because they didn't want my help. You see, it's a vicious cycle. And what's so for me? What's true for me? That's what I have to look at. Because why do I want to help them? So I can feel more comfortable. So I can be okay with them being who I think I need them to be. I was writing when that came out. I wrote it, and I'm like, oh, God, there it is. That's the truth of it. I want him to feel better, so I feel better, so I feel more comfortable. The best thing I can do is love him, hold some space for him, pray for him. And this is true for everyone. This is not just, I'm just speaking about one person because it's right present in my life. But this is true for anyone. When I'm having a conversation with someone and they call me to vent or talk about whatever's going on for them, it's important I know what they need from me. Rather than assuming, because I'll fall into my coach role. That's what I do. If you are a fixer or a people pleaser, you may do the same thing. That's my background. I like to fix and I like to people please. That's how I operated. So I automatically step in that role of wanting to offer solutions or something to help them feel better. Maybe they simply want to be where they are right now and they don't want a solution yet. Keyword yet. So it's important that we can listen to them and learn how to ask the questions instead of assuming I know. Maybe it's best for me, but it may not be best for them. So that's just one skill. The key of all that is to become mindful and aware. In those situations, what's my motive? Why do I want them to feel better? Maybe they need to be in that pain for whatever they're learning and whatever they're growing through. And quite frankly, that's none of my business. I can choose how I want to be in a relationship with them. Somebody was talking about that. Like, I chose to not be there because I want to be happy, joyous, and free in my life. And they want to suffer. Well, suffering is optional. If that's where someone is at, maybe leaving their life is a good choice. I say getting out of their way. Let me love you from over here. It's called self-preservation. Especially if they don't want it. They don't want something different. I had a second husband who was that way. He wanted to be miserable. He wanted to be unhappy. He liked that place. Great. I am not willing to participate here. And it was never about whether I loved him or not. It was about, I choose to live differently than this. I am growing and expanding and evolving in my world, and this person is staying the same. Simple law of physics, we grow apart. We no longer resonate together. That's true of anything. If we don't vibrate or resonate at the same level with someone, like attracts like, you know that saying, like attracts like? We attract our tribe to us or we are to them because that's where our energy level is. That's where I vibrate at. That's what I put into the universe is what I get back. If I'm at a different place than someone else, that's all good and well. It's awesome. That means I have things to go do, and they maybe don't include that other person. Or maybe they do. Maybe you have a touch point in their life every few years. I have a friend for over 20 years, and once every few years we can talk, and we can always pick up where we left off. But we're not interactive in our lives because we have very different lives. Right? It's all good. Sorry, little minor interruption there. So what's those distractions? I just lost my train of thought. Talking about being separate from people and not having to interact with them. It means nothing about, we often make a mess and we make it ugly because we don't know how to do it any different. When the truth is we simply aren't good for each other, or we don't operate at the same place and we're better apart. You ever seen people that have been married and they get divorced and they're better friends? Sometimes it's just that way. It means nothing about either one of us personally, but we often we make it a personal thing about ourselves. We make it mean something about ourselves. Oh, I'm not good enough for them, or I didn't do something right, or what could I have done different? If I changed enough things about me, I could have made it work. That's endless. That's the endless cycle of not good enough. Because no matter what you do, it's never gonna work. If I'm always working to try to make it work, it's never gonna work. I say that never. That's too big of a blanket. It's rarely gonna work, is my experience. Because I'm always working at trying to make it work when we just aren't a match. And that's okay. And then somebody asked, how do I trust myself? That's huge. That's a huge thing, and that is practice. And we often, in the beginning, when we're learning to spread our wings and listen to ourselves and what goes on the inside of us, we look for validation externally until we have built enough evidence that we can trust ourselves. Practice. It's that time, consistency, commitment, effort. Sometimes it's about trying it on, like test driving something. If I'm wanting to make a decision about something and I'm not really sure what I need to do. Then the distrust comes when we start to think about it. And then our mind is off and running because that's what we do. It's usually the first hit, the first thing that you got. Is it right or not to take this job, let's just say? It looks good, it feels good, but there's some little thing in you maybe that says, maybe not. But you didn't listen and you did the job. And you're like, oh, I was right. Right, so it's usually that first thing. When I ask people a question and they do the, I don't know, or they end up giving me all kinds of stuff, and I say, okay, just pause right there, take a deep breath. What was your first answer? Because that's usually the right one. And then the other part of that is, or another way, is to try it on. Feel it. What does it feel like if I take this job? What does it feel like if I don't take this job? Like really just imagine it. What does it feel like on the inside? And sometimes that will reveal to you what your answer is. And sometimes we just want an answer from someone else because ultimately we don't want to be responsible. When we learn to trust ourselves, it's about being fully responsible for my choices. And you'll learn very quickly if it was the right choice or not. So that's listening Like I talked about listening when you're with someone to hear what they need. That's about listening to you and what you need. Learning how to listen to ourselves on the inside. And this is a learned skill. If we aren't taught this, how to trust ourselves and how to trust our guidance system, which is our feelings, then we don't trust it. And it's about building that muscle, right? Because we will dismiss it. As soon as I get an intuitive thought or something that says I shouldn't go there, but I'm going to do it because I made the commitment anyway, and, just it's quickly revealed. And listening to ourselves on the inside, like what do we really want, not what our brain is telling us. And that's tapping into our body and what it's telling us and the feeling inside of our body. And it's uncomfortable. I know one of my friends who had a child come live with her for a minute, and it was ugly. And it was super uncomfortable when she said, "You need to go. I choose to not live this way with you." So even though that's the right choice, and she trusted herself to do that, we're super, super uncomfortable because it's so unfamiliar for us to take care of ourselves and trust our decisions. So we're used to the questioning. We're used to the dismissal. We're used to doing those things that mentally masturbating. That's what I call it. That's a polite way to say it. We're used to doing that to ourselves. So building that muscle of trust just takes that time and doing it. Like if you have somebody that you trust in your life and they're guiding you or you're asking for the validation, then you listen to that until you can listen to yourself. Until you can know and, oh, I got that. And then maybe somebody will say something and it's confirmation. And I think, oh, great, I'm on the right path, right? I didn't ask for it, but it shows up anyway. So that's just that muscle that we're conditioned in our culture to not listen, externally or internally. Right? We're always busy talking, we're always busy thinking, we're always busy doing the next thing. So learning how to listen is an art. It's an art. And it just takes practice. I have not found a shortcut. When you want to speak or you want to second guess yourself, just check in. What was my first thought about that? It's often the right one. And it's time. It just takes that time. I still have moments that I find myself looking to others. I'm doing this journey for over 20 years, and I still, every once in a while, I look for the validation that I made the right choice or the right decision. It's a lot less often. It's significantly less often. So the clearer we get in ourselves and our emotions, the easier it is. The easier our channel is to hear. And I say sometimes I think it's a soft voice that speaks to us. And my brain is so busy I can't hear it. I thought it got louder. I thought the voice in my head is louder. That intuitive voice or that voice that I can trust. It got louder, and it wasn't that it got louder, it's that I got clearer and quieter. So now I can hear it better. And that's just time and consistency. Our brains are wired to question and to dismiss our emotions, and that is our guidance system. Doesn't mean I have to base I'm talking about the emotions that guide us, not the mental, emotional drama that we get into. Different things. Those gut feelings. Those aha moment that, oh, That's what I need to go do. Oh, I need to get a flower for someone. Have you ever had that happen? You're like, oh, I need to get a flower. Someone needs a flower. I'm going to meet them, and they need a flower. May not be that exact thing. It's relative. But sometimes I had a thought. I was in Mount Shasta, and I had a friend who I was thinking of a Christmas gift for her. And I kept looking at these really beautiful, they hang in the window or on your mirror in your car, and it was a hummingbird. And I thought, well, that's not really her thing. I didn't buy it. 2 days later, she's telling me about a counseling session she had, and at the window there was a hummingbird, and her counselor told her she needed to study the hummingbird. Dang it. It's a simple thing. I didn't trust that. Oh, she's not into that. I didn't trust that. There's not really cost to anyone over that, but it's just the evidence that I didn't listen to myself, and I dismissed it. And that's what our brain does. So it's learning to decipher through all the other minutia that is in there. I'd love to tell you that I do it all the time and I listen all the time, and it may be 90% of the time or 85% of the time today rather than 10% or 15%, right? So it just grows with time. And I will stop there. I've chattered on a while. Any aha moment, anything you're taking away that you just go, oh, I get that now.
No aha moment. It's just I relate to all of it because I've been developing this over the years with your help.
Good.
It's hard to trust your gut, especially when you've been believing the crap that goes on in your mind for so long.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely true.
But every time you don't trust it, it goes wrong. Every time.
Yes.
Are we speaking now?
Yes, anything for you, Lori.
Oh, okay. I liked the very beginning where you said to be aware, have awareness of where the other person is and kind of what your intention is, of whether you're trying to fix them, help them so that you feel better. So I totally related to that.
Good.
Because I'm like, I don't understand how somebody could live that way, but they have to be at that point of their journey. And at this point, being friends from afar, as you had indicated, that sometimes that's best. You kind of get out of the way. You can still love them. It's not a question about love. It's just that they are where they're at in their journey, and who are we to say that they shouldn't be there,
Yes. And when I am trying to do what I do, I'm in their way.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other piece I didn't think about that earlier, but I'm in their way when I'm trying to help them and they don't want that.
Yeah. Yep. And then I when you do choose to listen, when I choose to listen to my intuition, as I would call it, you know when it's right, and you know when you're on your path and your journey because it just feels great. To me, when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, it's like I'm painting a picture of I'm doing art. I'm doing something creative, and it feels really good from the heart. So I know that's when I'm on track.
Love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I did an art project over the weekend, and I love doing them. I have so much fun doing them. What I realize is I'll do a lot of words, and I decided I have a few words on the thing I did, but I realized I wanted more visual because my brain, our brains in general, will get more from the image. The image generates a feeling more than the words do.
Yes. And so this weekend I took my daughter to Point Reyes, and we saw the most amazing scenery. And that's when I felt like I was doing the art of my life. You know, creating a visual picture with my daughter that she'll carry with her for the rest of her life. And for me, that's how I kind of get my thing is nature. I get outside, and that's when I hook into the universe and myself. So that's why I felt like I was making art, and that was in real life. So
love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to remind you can go to the website, pick up your free ebook, check out all of the calls that are recorded there under Insider Calls. I also have some blogs there where I've written quite a lot, so find something of interest to read if you prefer reading rather than listening, or both. You can do that also. It's helloextraordinarylife.com.